Okay, welcome back, everyone. Time for another deep dive. We've got quite a mix of recent articles today, all giving us different angles on the crypto market.
That's right.
We're looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum mostly, and seeing what, big companies, governments, exchanges, even those big whale holders are up to right now.
Exactly. It's a real snapshot. And our goal here really is to pull out the key signals from all this news, help you understand the different forces kind of pushing and pulling in the crypto space today.
Right. It's never just one thing, is it?
Never. It's always interconnected.
Okay, so let's start with the corporate side. There are these headlines. Strategy spends $110 hours on Bitcoin will. It hits 600K BTC next. And another one, Sailor signals Bitcoin buy with tracker Ts.
Mm.
I mean, the big number jumps out straight away.
Mhm.
$110 million spent on Bitcoin by, well, it seems like MicroStrategy given the Sailor piece.
Yeah, that definitely points towards MicroStrategy.
And that first headline speculates 600,000 BTC. Is that even feasible?
Well, look, it fits their pattern, doesn't it? MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor, they've been very public about this strategy, accumulating Bitcoin for their corporate treasury. This $110 million is, just the latest step.
Right.
And that 600,000 BTC figure, whether it's an actual target or just speculation, it highlights the sheer scale we're talking about. That was a massive commitment.
So why is that specific corporate strategy so noteworthy? Lots of companies invest.
Well, true, but this is different. When a public company like MicroStrategy puts Bitcoin on its balance sheet like this so deeply, it's seen as a really strong signal. It suggests, long-term conviction, institutional adoption. It's not just a quick trade. It's baked into their core strategy. And yeah, other companies definitely watch that.
But are they really represented? I mean, MicroStrategy feels like such an outlier almost. Is their focus really a sign of a broad trend, or is it just, Sailor's specific vision driving it?
That's a fair question. They are definitely way out in front and very vocal. But look, their commitment, sticking with it through ups and downs, it does kind of lower the perceived risk for others thinking about it.
Ah, all right.
So maybe not everyone will copy them exactly by that much, but MicroStrategy's actions sort of build a case. They provide a model, validate Bitcoin as something a corporation can hold as a treasury asset. It helps legitimize it for, the traditional finance folks and other companies.
Gotcha. That makes sense. So definite conviction there in the private sector.
Yeah.
But shifting gears, what about governments? This next piece sounds potentially huge. U.S. representatives introduces bill for strategic Bitcoin reserve.
Yeah, this is a totally different level, isn't it?
It sounds like it.
We're talking about a U.S. Representative, Tim Burchett, actually proposing a bill for the U.S. government to hold Bitcoin strategically, like as a national reserve asset.
Wow.
It just opens up a whole new conversation, right? Beyond just regulation or taxation. It's about potentially crypto assets playing a role in national security or economic strategy. How nations might actually use crypto, not just control it. Thinking of Bitcoin as a state asset.
And, well, speaking of how governments interact, it's not always about reserves. Regulation hits hard on the ground. This India piece. Crypto tax in India is crushing profits. Here's how Bitcoin ETFs can save you.
Right, and this shows the direct impact of policy. The article mentions these pretty tough tax rules in India, high capital gains, this 1% tax on every transaction.
Yeah, TDS, right.
Exactly. Yet it also notes there's still apparently about 1 crore rupees worth of Bitcoin traded. That's roughly, 120,000 US. So activity is still happening despite the hurdles.
Interesting.
And then the piece suggests that things like Bitcoin ETFs are seen by some investors there as a potential way around some of those tax challenges, maybe offering a different structure, different tax implications. It directly links policy, how investors react, and then the demand for certain kinds of financial products.
But hold on. Is an ETF really a long-term fix for taxes like that? Or is it more like a loophole that might get closed? Does it bring its own issues?
That's a really important point. ETFs aren't magic, right? They might help in some specific situations, depending on how they're set up in local laws. But you've still got management fees, tracking errors maybe, counterparty risk.
Right, who actually holds the Bitcoin?
Exactly. So it's definitely not a perfect solution to high taxes. Investors would need to look really closely at the specific ETF and their own tax situation. It shows people want regulated ways to access crypto, but also, how regulation itself can create these complex situations.
Okay, so we've got companies buying big, governments looking at reserves and hitting users with taxes. Let's talk infrastructure.
Yeah.
How the market itself is changing. NASDAQ filing an SEC Form 8K. What's that about?
So this is interesting because it's NASDAQ, a pillar of traditional finance, filing with the SEC. An 8K form is for significant events. And this filing from June 2nd. It's about changing the benchmark index for a specific crypto ETF, the hashtag's NASDAQ Crypto Index US ETF, and NCQ.
Sounds technical.
It is a bit technical, yeah, but the key takeaway is that traditional players aren't just launching crypto stuff and leaving it. They're actively tweaking, refining these products, adapting them. It shows that ongoing integration, that maturing process of crypto within traditional finance.
And still in market developments.
Okay.
MEXC, they've got a new launch pad featuring BTC.
Right, so this is on the crypto exchange side. A launch pad on an exchange like MEXC is usually where they introduce new tokens, maybe do fundraising.
Okay, like an IPO, but for crypto tokens?
Sort of, yeah. A way to get new projects out there. And the interesting thing here is they're featuring Bitcoin on their new launchpad, kicking off a BTC trading month. It shows exchanges are trying to build specific events, specific product features around the big established cryptos like Bitcoin, likely to drive trading and keep users engaged, finding new ways to use the main assets.
Makes sense. Okay, final piece here. This is about the big individual holders, the whales. Crypto Whale moves 10,708 ETH from Lido to OKX. Very specific.
It is specific. It's a lot of Ethereum. 10,708 ETH. The source values that at nearly $27 million.
Wow.
And the movement itself is interesting. From Lido, which is mostly about liquid staking earning rewards on staked ETH.
Right, you get stETH back or something similar.
Exactly. Moving from that to an exchange, OKX, where you'd more typically trade or, maybe sell.
So what could that mean? Are they about to sell?
Well, that's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Or $27 million question here. We can't know for sure. It could mean they're getting ready to trade or sell. It could mean they're changing how they want to stake their ETH. Maybe they're just reorganizing their portfolio across different platforms.
So lots of possibilities.
Lots of possibilities. That's why tracking these whale movements is, well, it's something people do to try and guess market sentiment or what might happen next, but you always have to take it with a grain of salt. You don't have the full story.
Right. Okay, so pulling this all together, it really is a diverse picture. We've got ongoing strategic corporate buying.
Deep conviction there, yeah.
Then governments looking at reserves, but also hitting markets with taxes.
A real push and pull from regulators.
Traditional finance, adapting ETFs, exchanges creating new Bitcoin events.
And infrastructure evolving.
And these huge individual whale moves that hint at, something.
Exactly. And seeing all these pieces together, that's what gives you the richer picture, right? A more layered understanding than just looking at any one thing in isolation. It's this whole ecosystem moving at once. So maybe here's something to think about as we wrap up. You've got corporations buying for the long haul, it seems. You've got governments starting to seriously consider crypto as a strategic asset, even while they're figuring out taxes. And the whole financial plumbing is adapting constantly. What does all that activity coming from such different players really suggest about how crypto's role might evolve? It feels like everyone, companies, countries, investors, is kind of defining their relationship with this space almost in real time. What shape will that take?